Hello and welcome back to another episode of
Tube
Talk. Tube Talk.
with your host Sophie
And Albert Bosma.
being interviewed.
Yes, not me being interviewed, you. You were the interviewee and I'm the interviewer.
Yes.
Okay.
We had the Waimate Wonder Matt Allnut in Auckland this week. We took him to
We did.
Rakaka.
We did.
We showed him the trial, showed him what the North Island looked like. He quite liked it.
So, let's talk about last week.
Let's talk about last week. Let's do that.
Last week, I think for us, was a pretty awesome week.
Yeah.
I was happy with last week. We had no return who won in Canterbury on Sydney.
One email.
I said one on Canterbury. One in Canterbury and Sydney.
No return. Brilliant. He was very, very good first up. Over 15.50, which is too short for him. Gun ride from Hugh Bowman. Looped the field when the pace slackened. Went up outside the leader and was just too strong in the straight. And No Return had the advantage of something we haven't had here in New Zealand for a while, which is a good track. It wasn't wet, it was dry. He loved it. He looks in for an excellent campaign. Great to win. And he will race in 2.5 weeks' time. At Canterbury again, either over 1550 or 1900 metres. But the great news was, as part of that, was Jerry Veining, one of the owners, and his partner Daniel Wickham flew from Wellington to Sydney and watched No Return win. And got the photo, 2 emails.
I'm gonna vote we only get three.
I'm going to go for like 7. 3.
Okay, no, I'm changing. I'm gonna go 6.
Yeah, 6, I go 7. So they flew, they were there, which was fantastic.
Oh, that wasn't
4.
email.
No, there was only 3. There was just there's emails in the box.
Thank you.
So that was great. That was awesome. So he looks in for a really good campaign.
Nice one. And we also had Seized Moment, who came 3rd fresh up.
Yeah, really good run. He carried 60 kilos and he was a bit fat. He was kind of only just ready for the race, really. But he fought really hard for 3rd. And he's on target. He'll improve for that. He'll run again at an open mile on the 24th at Te Rapa with 30,000. And then after that, he will run, well, the plan is to go for the Copeland Mile, Group 2, $230,000 mile at Rickenham.
Awesome. And this week, we have got 5 runners.
Yes.
Let's talk about them.
And I also, 4.
4.
And I want to talk at the end of this about Winks.
Winks.
And the Caulfield Stakes, 5.
Dude, no.
She's not going to be here till midnight. So, right, let's talk about this week.
Okay. First of all, we have got She's Graceful, who is running at Timaru on Friday in the maiden 3-year-old 1200.
Yeah, look, She's Graceful. We took her to the trials and we restrained her back and she fought, but then eventually settled and got a long way back and she ran home really well. We then went to the races, got a really good draw, and we just let her jump and be wherever she wanted to be. And she ended up being handy and she didn't finish it off and did a couple of things wrong. So we think the key to her might be getting her to relax early and just get off the bit. So she's racing over 1,200 metres on Friday. And we've got Barry 16 of 16, which I actually like, because it means we've got no choice but to restrain her back to the rear, and Kylie Williams will be on board. Now, pulling her back to the rear, she might fight a bit, and it might mean that she cannot win this race, but hopefully it's going to teach her to relax in her races and finish them off, rather than going a little bit too hard too early. So it's a little bit of an experiment on Friday, and it's a bit of a step forward to what we do. So we're looking for her to relax and run home, and as long as she's getting home well, we'll be happy. And she's likely to step up to a mile after this.
Cool. So I'm just feeling a bit tired.
And we have Kylie Williams on board, who rode her in the trial as well. I think that's quite important.
Cool. And in the same meeting, we've got Zanotti in the rating 65, 1600.
So Zanotti's gone south for a campaign. She's probably ready for 2,000 metres, but it's been a month between runs, so we thought we'd better go a mile. She's drawn well Barra 5, there'll be a little bit of cut in the track. And she should run nicely. Not saying she'll win, but would not be surprised at all to see her in the first 4.
Oh gosh, it's 5.
5. So she's a nice each way chance.
And, okay, I'm going to try my best with this.
There wouldn't be many better performed horses in the field than her. She's stakes placed.
On Saturday.
And Matt Cameron rides, which is good.
Is that everything you want to say, Albert?
Yes.
Okay. On Saturday at Hawera.
Hawera in the South Taranaki.
I am so sorry for that mispronunciation.
No, it's good.
In the Group 3 Taranaki Breeders' Stakes, we've got North and South.
Yes, North and South, who was second in the Opunaki Cup, getting some black type. We're looking for more black type for her. And this is a good race. It's fillies and mares. 1400 metres, I think, is her best distance. She's got the outside barrier draw of 16 or 16, which we're happy about. The track's a slow 9 with rain, more rain predicted. It'll probably be a heavy 11. She loves heavy tracks. She'll get back, relax, and look to have the last big run at them. So it's a nice race for her. And as long as she's well on the day and the track conditions are suitable, she's got to be a winning chance. Would love to see her win. She deserves it. She's won 9 races so far. It'd be great to be 10, and she deserves to be a Group 1.
Nice.
We've kept her in. She's normally might have been in the paddock by now, but because it's been such a wet spring, we've kept her in with this race in mind.
Nice one. And is that everything you want to say, Albert?
Yeah, Robbie Hannum back on.
Okay. On Sunday at Cranbourne.
In
Cranbourne.
at Cranbourne and just outside of Melbourne in Victoria.
We've got Passing Shot in the Apache Cat Classic.
Apache Cat Classic. Apache Cat was a very good.
I tried. I really did. 6. Okay. Come on, just hold on.
Apache Cat was a very good sprinter with a big white baldy face. So Passing Shot has been a little bit disappointing to date in Australia. His second run was quite good. He's dropping back in class, but he's still running for $100,000. He's got barrier 8, should come into barrier 7 with scratchings of 7 of 14, which we're happy about. Because he's been drawing inside and he's been on the rail with horse outside, and we'd like him to go forward over 1,000 metres and sit outside the leader. We've got a small little gear change on him, which might make a difference too. It's a shorter straight, and this, while he's carrying a big weight of 59 kilos, he can carry weight, and this looks a good race for him. The track is a soft 7 at the moment, but there's good weather forecast, and with a bit of luck it'll come back to a good track for him, and it's a good opportunity for him to get back into form.
Awesome.
Michael Walker, who rode him last start, sticks with him, which is really important because the first time he's had the same jockey on twice.
Awesome. Okay. Is there everything you want to say, Albert?
Stephen McKee has travelled over there to see him, and he's the trainer, and he lost his luggage on the way. So he's still waiting for his luggage to turn up. So all he's got is the clothes that he's wearing on his back.
Dad, when I say anything more to say,
I'm slightly doing it to annoy you.
I'm
Go.
in relation to it.
Come on, get on with it, Sophie.
And finally, our final horse riding on Sunday at Singapore. In Singapore. Is Chariots of Fire.
Yes, we go very international. So Chariots of Fire is a smart horse. He's been well backed his first 2 starts. In both starts he's drawn wide and he's sort of run off a bit and hasn't gone to the race and got a bit lost. This start he's drawn barrier 4 over 1200 metres, and it's on the turf. So back to, I think grass will suit 7.
However, what if it goes like
7.
way over
8.
If it goes way over 7, if it gets to 16, it's mine for the taking.
Okay, so as we were saying, Chariots of Fire, he's back on the turf, short course, so it's a short straight. He's got barrier 4, so he's got a good barrier. Vlad Jurik's on him, who's a really good jockey, which is a positive. We'll be going forward, bouncing out of the gates, going forward, trying to lead, be handy, and I think we can see a turnaround and a big improvement in form from him. He's an each way chance.
Awesome. And you said you want to talk about Winks?
Yeah, so I want to talk about Winks. So on Saturday, the Group 1 Caulfield Stakes on Saturday, $600,000, only 3 runners. So Winks is so good that she's frightened off all the other horses apart from another 2. Black Barton, he or she, who are both
9.
good. 8. 9. Who are both good horses. and there were 7 noms, but man, it's an opportunity, isn't it? Like, only 3 horses. If you've got to hit a filly or mare, put it in that race, and there's only 4 horses, it's a Group 1. You know, at worst, you're going to collect 27,000 and run 4th and have that on your CV, your breeding profile. But you're a chance to run a placing, even a 3rd in a Group 1 weight for age, and it's how good she is that she's frightened the other horses off. But it's almost a tragedy. You know, it's almost a tragedy that you haven't got a horse that's there and ready that you can put in the race. Hartnell has today announced that he will race against Winks in the Cox Plate, which is it'll be a great match race. But I think she is lengths better than Hartnell, and I think at the moment she's $1.80 and he's $4 in the 10, and it's a record in the betting. But now that he's confirmed, I think you'll see her maybe drift out to $2.50. If she gets up to $2.50, just load up. She'll beat him. I believe she's lengths better than him. I mean, he's been beating Fields, but she'd be beating him as far as he's beating them. So my thing on Winks is load up for the Caulfield Cup once the new odds come out, and if she's at $2.50. That's what I want to say.
Thank you, and I'm sorry I keep restricting call out numbers, but we've reached 10. That is a decade.
It is. Now, Sophie, there's something very important, though. Something else we've got to do.
Bet of the week.
Bet of the week. The bet of the week this week is at Egmont. No, it is. I found it very difficult because the tracks are so wet. But Egmont, you can say the race number.
Race 2.
Race 2, Spiker. The Way You Are, trained by Gelding, trained by Bill Thurlow, who's a very good trainer. It's drawn barrier 16, which is perfect on that track. He likes heavy tracks. He's a local. It's a mile. He won over 1650 last start. Previously, he ran 3rd at the Premier Meeting at Hawke's Bay. His form is good. He's fit. He's got the right barrier drawer. It's quite a competitive field, so I think he could be $5. He might pay a reasonably good dividend, and I think he's a superb each-way bet. He never runs a bad race. He's very consistent. Spiker is the Go Racing bet of the week for this week.
Yes. And that is all for this week.
That's that for this week, and we shall be back next week. Looking forward to hopefully no more tears in the Lion Red Plate, amongst other horses.
Awesome. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Soph.
Bye.